Hey everybody, back for another episode of Carnival of Randomness. This should be interesting because, well, it's a grab bag of topics, whatever we want to talk about. I know that's really different from usual, isn't it? But we have Greg, of course, with us.
Hi.
And we have our other, sometimes co-host, and his buddy, the master drummer, is nowhere to be seen because he's to be seen. It's John Erik.
Hello.
And he's locked. Isn't the master drummer locked in the trunk?
Yes, he's in the trunk.
He has PCAs.
I left a bowl of water out for him, and
you punched some holes in
some holes with a screwdriver in the trunk.
And we actually have a guest in the studio. Hi, Gail. Just waving at her. You could.
Hi, Gail.
Yes.
She's smarter than all of us not doing it.
Yes.
And we have as our guest here by Fred. I haven't seen him in a while because of COVID and our place closed where we hung out. It's Paul, and I'm not pronouncing your last name because I screwed those up all the time.
That's all right.
You can say it if you want.
Yeah, it's Wlodarczyk.
Now you'll be stalked. So
Nice.
Yeah, nobody will be able to spell it, though. That's the trick.
So are you a fellow Polak?
I'm a fellow Polak.
All right. My last name is actually Anuskevich. That was my dad's last name, so we have to talk.
Hey,
but he's a
Yachamash.
Oh,
he's
wow.
like Mo Horowitz. He loaded.
I just learned that.
You know, it was Mo Horowitz.
Yeah.
Louis Feinberg. We have Greg Andrews.
Yeah, well, you know.
And we're going to talk about whatever we really want to talk about. One of the things is we've been remarking on Paul's shirt, so we might as well talk about
I
that.
love it. Yeah, the Court of the Crimson King.
Yeah.
The mad clown, crazy guy there.
Never really. Jill likes when I wear it because it scares the hell out of children.
Right?
But, yeah, we got to see them on the 50th
Maternal
anniversary.
instinct, I see.
Yeah. Yeah, she couldn't eat a whole one, as she likes to say. But so we got to see them at the Beacon. We were just talking about this outside.
All the best conversations, by the way, when people complain about the show, the best conversations take place before we do the show. And then we have nothing to talk about.
Well, we just prep. It's prep, and then we talk about it later.
But yeah, we're really happy about live music coming back. And we were down to Abilene.
Yeah.
We were saw Get the Let Out on Friday night downtown. It's just good to get back outside.
Those guys are really good, right? I saw them last time.
I saw them once, and they really weren't good at all.
Oh, really?
They had a guy who wasn't hitting the notes, and they had a girl who was amazing. And this time, the guy was just, they did 3 sets. He didn't miss a note the whole time. He was like dead on. They were phenomenal.
Yeah, I was gigging, or I would have been there.
So, and I was off to some gigs, or I would have been there because now there are gigs. But so it was Led Zeppelin, I take it. Tribute. So for 3 sets, they played probably 5 songs.
It's interesting. I was listening as a drummer thing, but it's like a lot of times I read a couple things or heard a couple things in documentaries or whatever that like a couple times Bonham didn't really know how to approach it, so he just played through. And that's why I think like Kashmir and things like that, where he just boom whack, because he just figured, screw it, I'll just play right through it, and everything just lined up. And that's kind of how he went with that. So I thought that was kind of.
And I love like recording back in the day, like for Led Zeppelin, before they were at that house. I think it was owned by Mick Jagger, and he's playing up on the top floor,
right,
and everything. And it's like how you used to do things like that back then. You had to make stuff up because you couldn't just do it in the studio. But that's one thing I wanted to talk about because we've talked about it a bit. What was really all your first music venues where you first were really hanging out a little bit?
Shoot.
The Living Room Lounge. It was on Carter and Norton. There's a rug place there now because it was right down the street from my house. So even before I was old enough to be in bars, I was going there because they had an open jam every Monday. So I started going to the open jams, and that's how I got started playing.
And what kind of stuff? Just whatever anybody wanted.
Top 40 stuff that was really at the time. The stuff that was on.
Did you come in wearing your John Travolta shirt and stuff at the time?
I don't even know. I probably looked like a stupid little freak. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you can tell by the way he uses his walk. He's a ladies' man. No time to talk. my venues were in Cincinnati. Is in the mid 1980s. And I was heavily into metal, and place like Bogart's it's a place called Bogart's, which is a big concert joint near University of Cincinnati. Annie's Rock and Roll House, nice. And this is on the river, down from downtown, and then a place called Never on Sundays with I had quite an adventure there one New Year's Eve with my big brother.
Greek music? No.
It was all big hair, heavy metal bands back then. But so none of you guys even the track with any of this stuff except maybe Bogarts. Have you heard of Bogarts?
I think so.
Yeah. I like Casablanca. I actually have heard of that one though. I think
A very popular concert venue in Cincinnati.
is this where like Ian Hunter? But he wrote about Cleveland,
Yeah.
so
Play it again, hippie.
But those were mine, and in this town, when I moved here in 1986, the first venue I went to was the Penny Arcade, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah, sure, why not?
And John, at the time, he had this big afro with rainbow colors like this, like that hippie guy you used to see at baseball games in the 70s.
Yeah.
Well,
He modeled
Paul.
himself after you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I grew up in Syracuse, so the place I used to go to for bands was the Firehouse downtown.
You went,
and-
so the firemen put on concerts. Which is cool. That's different.
Well, this is actually an old firehouse that had been turned into a club.
Oh.
And Sandy Big Tree would play there. Gosh, I'm trying to think of the other. This is going too far back now. This is like 70s stuff. But in Rochester, it was. We were talking about clubs the other day, so Idols and gyms and all the dance clubs.
Right.
Man.
But for music, it was Penny Arcade, it was Scorgies, Casablanca, which you and I were talking about.
That sounded. Did you two have memories of that?
I don't. Not
I remember
Casablanca.
gyms and
See, I remember
Idols.
Casablanca vaguely, and I know Mike Murray told me Joan Jett played there, Dave Edmunds played there,
Yeah.
the Kings played there. That's the one that I remember.
I saw Backseat Sally there when they were.
Yeah, I saw the Kings there because a friend of mine did sound for the Kings back in the day. So, it was great.
Who remembers going to Brighton Bowl to hear bands? There used to be Brighton Bowl used to have bands, the Showstoppers and the Rustics and all those kind of bands. We're talking old, early
Right there on East Ave?
60s.
Brighton Bowl?
No, Brighton Bowl.
I saw Johnny Maestro in the Brooklyn Bridge.
And we have
There you go.
our voice. We have our voice.
In the
Leon.
living room.
Yes, he
That's
was
where
your-
Chuck Mangione played with young Steve Gadd and Chick Corea every week. And that's where Chick Corea told Steve how to open up his drum groove into modern drumming.
How
Away
cool.
just from the basic shuffles, right on Norton Street.
Oh yeah, sweet.
Awesome.
That was right down the street from me.
We have this
Thank you,
magic.
Andy.
Yeah.
We have this magic balloon called Andy that works
Yeah.
the technical stuff, and
Ladies
sometimes he
and
comes in.
Ladies and gentlemen, he was recording a special across the hall. He just popped in.
That's why we are on this thing. But for mine, my first thing was the Penny Arcade. And the thing about it was, back in the day, especially when you're in grade school, high school, whatever, it has this lure like you're going to get killed.
Yeah,
it was dangerous.
And
Yeah,
I
that's
swear,
true,
I
yeah.
had one of my classmates lived by it, and I think he used to like to tell tall tales about it, like about all this stuff. So we go down there, and you try to look cool, and it's tough to look cool when you're a kid. Then you're waiting for your parents to pick you up after the show. But then the thing that got me was, okay, you go down there, there's a bunch of bikers and everything. The only thing that happened to me once, I got pushed into some guy looked like ZZ Top's 500-pound roadie who said, "Don't push me." But I saw them all eating ice creams at Abbott's, and nobody can look tough eating ice cream. I'm going to kill you.
As soon as I'm
Hey,
done
dude,
with
my
this
cone.
Well, now if it has
Dude,
sprinkles
don't
on
lick
it, they're
your-
suspect.
Lick that vanilla chocolate swirl first, but then...
Yeah. I'm afraid to get this ice cream on my hand, so you're lucky.
But the one, I remember Motorhead, I didn't even go in because it was so loud. I just stayed in the parking lot.
Oh, man.
So, Jill knows Lemmy.
Oh.
Knew Lemmy.
Oh, wow.
Jill's brother was friends with Lemmy, so she ruined her hearing falling asleep against speakers at Hawkwind concerts when she was
Oh,
in her
goodness.
younger days.
Goodness.
Nice.
It's amazing, he was always if I'm lucky, he never drank or anything either. Otherwise, he would've-
I watched.
I looked at him and go,
a
that
lot
dude
of-
is sober as a...
No.
I watched a great thing on the Rainbow Room. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
And it was a really cool documentary about the Rainbow Room in L.A. And I've only was there once when I lived there. I went there and after a show, but it was cool. And I guess he hung out. They made a statue of him. They got a statue of him.
Yes,
out in
I've
the
seen
garden.
that.
Okay.
I think but I think that in his documentary they showed him he would go play like that game.
Yeah.
And you just sit there and be playing the game all
Poker
day.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember we had one in the bar I worked in. I managed to get it where you didn't have to put the quarter in. You can't get me now, to get it to go. But he would just be sitting. Could you imagine like walking in anywhere going, Lemmy playing a video game at the bar?
Yeah. Eating the eggs out of the jar and
Oh God.
drinking. I was saying how like a lot of executives at whiskey making joints lost big bonuses when he died. Let me just tell you.
Really? Yeah, but
No, I mean no.
who you gonna sell to now?
No, he was a notorious lover of the whiskey. Am I right?
The first one, I read an
Jack and
article in
Coke.
Cream. This is when he lived on his houseboat. He started his breakfast with a pitcher of vodka at OJ.
Yikes.
Oh, but then again, like Hunter S. Thompson would think he's lightweight.
He holds the record. I don't know whether to give it to him. I have this thing about, for him, he held like he had his cigarette, and he would put it on the end of his bass, put it in his mouth, sing with it on the side of his mouth. And I don't know if that was the coolest cigarette trick in a concert. It was Keith Richards, where he just balanced it. At one show I saw it, and it would go down on his lip. He'd pull it up, balance it.
Somehow keep all the ash on it like for this long.
Yeah, amazing. But one thing, Paul, I know you wanted to talk about simply because we can't miss it. We've been bringing this up every show. It's COVID.
Oh God.
So what can you say?
Well, so on one hand, it was the year without any color, right? Because
The year without is Santa Claus.
everything that we love to do. We love to travel. We love to fly places. We love to eat out at restaurants. We love to go to live music, and it was just done. And we made the most of it by having people in our backyard, distance, doing sing-arounds once a week with friends, playing music, and. Now that it's over, I think the first couple of weeks, you and I were talking about this.
Yeah.
The first couple of weeks after we got vaccinated and we were, legit, and we were able to go around without masks. I walked into a Lowe's without a mask on, and I felt like I was doing something wrong.
I know it.
I still do. I actually been doing a weird one now. Like when I go to Wegmans, I bring my mask, walk around. When I check out, I put it on. Mm-hmm. And I just feel safe for them.
Yeah, I feel like always like, well, what's
I heard
the
like one
policy?
story from a friend. She caught COVID at like a store or something. She had a mask. They suspect somebody around her was around her a long time. So just get your grocery items and keep walking, for goodness sake. Be so
Right.
picky. But I guess they think she caught it that way. And you think people working there, I would have freaked if I had a job like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the only upside was they got to get vaccinated early, right? But
Well, Wegmans got a lot of heat early on because they didn't seem to care about it, and then all of a sudden they had to get serious.
yeah.
But how would it be like for the masked drummer? As he told you about how did you wrestle the empty arenas?
Well, first of all, the first handful of arenas in Tokyo had all the sex dolls in the stands, so that sort of filled the void. He's telling me this second hand, okay?
So they were all gaping with their mouths wide
Yes,
open.
it's like, remember, it's a whole lot of surprise-looking women in the stands tonight.
Everybody's going, oh!
And for anybody who doesn't know, look it up. South Korea got caught, like it was on the news because they put sex dolls in their baseball
Yeah,
stadiums.
but the Masked Grappler, he went on the Sri Lankan tour, and usually the arenas are filled with chickens and goats anyway, so it was no different. The farmers were in the background. They didn't believe in masks there. Of course, the Masked Grappler had his mask with a double mask on, and he won that championship and went home with like a truckload of chickens.
But especially like for musicians now, I'm seeing a very positive feedback. It's like I know there's so many, but it's like you have to get there to shows early because they get crowded.
Yeah.
And everything. Have you been seeing that so far? And like I know, John, you haven't started really yet.
No, I have a gig next month.
Yeah, it seems like people are really, out to go, chomping at the bit, so to speak, to get out there. So, I mean, yeah, you have to. I think we should probably take it now because I think by fall and
It'll be the next variant, and we'll
it's
be
gonna
locked down
level
again.
off a bit. But I think now it's great because people are really, really anxious to get out, and they're like, thank God, and it's like. It reminds me of that. Remember that Simpsons episode where they had the snow day or something?
Yeah,
and all the kids come out or there was one episode out. The kids come out of their fog or whatever it is, and they're like, oh, you know, like they've been in this like crazy thing. So that's the way I think people are just sort of like, thank God.
But
this
I
is
also
over.
remember, imagine like going to Abilene when this is going on. I see Danny, we're good friends. He's like, I got to see if you could. You got to see because it's the space. You go, you have the mask. If you sit down, you have to take it off and get up.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, there was a lot of crazy rules. I mean, I think a lot of it got a little bit overblown. I mean, I don't want to get into a whole, you know, Nazi thing here, but sometimes I just think it's a little bit, you know, it was a little bit overdone. But
I
but
think
if it's
partly
in the air, it's
the one
in the
I'll
air.
give him. The one I'll give him is, when have we ever dealt with something like this before?
We
We're like
haven't,
taking
right.
little baby steps in a way.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, like, you know, just like if you were to, like, you know how they tell you if you're put on cologne or something, you're supposed to spray it and then walk into it, so you don't just, you know, douse it all. So it's like if it's in the air and you're walking and you catch it, it's, you know, it's not that hard. You know, I mean, it's droplets and all that. So I mean, it's a, you know.
It's where they didn't do like They Live, where there are these glasses you could put on and see little COVID
Yeah, right.
viruses flying around.
I mean-
and like void them duck. No.
It's interesting. I'm always thinking about scenarios, and I'd like, well, what would have it been like if we didn't shut down?
Right.
We would have been open.
I mean, I'm not necessarily a huge
Thank you,
conspiracy
Professor Obvious.
believer. You know, they say 600,000 deaths. They were attributing everything. You know, there's a lot of people who died who, you know, they said the people with, you know, who weren't in great health, the heavier people, the people with diabetes, you know, they had other situations, and this didn't help, and it killed them. It killed some very healthy people. I was very lucky. I never caught it. I had friends that caught it, and they survived. We had some friends that passed in Rochester music scene. Yeah. But is for me as a musician, it was absolutely bizarre. I haven't even tried. I haven't tried to gig. I haven't tried to do a partially or a socially distanced gig since May. You know, my first one's coming up next month, and I think you're right, July 30th. And I think I'm allowed to try and pack the bar. I believe. Yeah. But
The only thing for me that I was good, and it sounds weird, but it was nice to have a summer without calendar anxiety. Because I'm in all these different bands, and I'm, you know, phone calls and texts. Hey, can you do this? And can you do? You know, it was nice to have a summer where I just didn't have to deal with that. And
I still keep a little paper calendar. I look at the events in the summer, and like, oh my.
Yeah, but the thing is, it was nice for that 1 year or the first couple of months, and then okay, that's enough.
That's enough of that. Yeah.
I had my break. Now I need to get back. Now and then it was going on and on and on. So I'm glad it's over.
Yeah.
And I think I've always been, you know, studying history too. Wait, like down the line, 10 years from now, because that's when more stuff's going to come out, where it's going to be more an unbiased view looking at it, saying what really happened, what we did wrong.
Mm-hmm. It's the political angle that's attached to it is so bizarre to me. But I don't want to go down that road with you guys, but it's just so bizarre to me. Anyway,
there was some stuff like I remember. I get a lot of at my dumb little gas station job there. I get a lot of people from like Rochester Regional Health that work at night, and they come in at 11 o'clock.
They were saying, they were burning the bodies
to buy
Don't tell anybody.
cigarettes. You know, it's like you were gonna.
That's Greg just interrupted.
So anyway, but I had one lady. First of all, one person came in and she said there was going to be a second thing in August, not this August, last August. And I said, okay. So like she knew something that nobody else knows. But then she also said that they definitely were just throwing the numbers around. Like, okay, if you had pneumonia and then you got COVID, or you were around, they said that the numbers got skewed. They just kind of lumped them all together to make it, to dramatize it or something. So I think that was out there, but it's just you can't prove it. So
I used to love that when I was at U of R, seeing the med school students smoking outside the building. That was like one of my favorite. Oh, it's like I have this dry cough from my allergy a little bit. That would be COVID.
right.
yeah.
But then how people, I mean, you could look up on the internet now anything you want to know. I think they've had the Masked Drummer's identity.
No.
They thought he
doxed?
Masked Drummer.
thought he was actually a resurrected Lawrence Welk. I've heard that one. But you could look up anything. You could say it was caused by like cheeseburgers from Thailand or
I'm in
something, and it
trouble.
would be there. And we've had, like, by me, we've had the anti-vaxxer protests down by the bridge a lot.
Well, my personal pet conspiracy theory is that they inoculated a bunch of people and put them on different planes and sent them all around the world. Because it was in Italy, it was here, it was there. It's like, how did that happen?
Oh, people travel.
But I mean, there's somehow it was weird. I don't know. I mean,
No, the
I'm
one
just
thing I
joking
looked at
around,
the
but,
statistics, the one place that didn't get hit hard, and this is amazing considering some of the horrible diseases, there's Africa. And I'm wondering if it's more like, I just read Neil Peart's book about bicycling through Cameroon, and it's more the way the village lifestyle that's a little bit isolated. Maybe that's why. Because then you think some of the things that come out of there, like Hanta and all these.
Right.
Yeah. And all these horrifying things.
Well,
it's
some
just
stuff
strange.
probably does. Well, let's just say the open air markets and things. You might catch something and it just sort of sits in you and gestates. Who knows? And then kind of a la Alien. But then you go
If
out
it came
and you
through our
spread it
phones,
around.
we'd be doomed.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if it broadcast through the phone? It's like,
Oh,
hi,
I
I'm
know.
Corona. You were infected now.
Well, they were burning down cell phone towers in England because they thought it was 5G.
Yeah.
Damn.
That was my favorite one.
I think it needed a good
And I
laugh.
also think, unfortunately, and we've always, like on the carnival, we talk about whatever we want about. We try to, nobody wants to hear about politics, but sometimes like bringing a little into it.
Yeah.
We're at a point in this country, you're supposed to be on one side or another, and you are not supposed to agree, or like it's got to be so. It's like somebody says, it's like, my favorite color is blue. You have to say it's like purple or red, because it's just
not
the
how
way
you
the
work
country is
together,
at the
but-
moment.
Yeah.
It's not like let's all do this together and forget our
Right.
differences.
Right.
If we all strive, I don't know what strove to be like right all the times, which means to be right all the times, you got to recognize that occasionally you're wrong and you adjust your thinking. None of us are right all the times, but we should strive to be. And then these people who just who are convinced they know it all, they're stand on such ignorance. Oh, don't get me started.
I had the one. I was at the gas station, and I heard these two guys talking about that Mexican coronavirus. And I felt like saying, yes, indeed, it's true. I've had many headaches from that Mexican coronavirus in my past.
It can make you vomit if you get enough of it.
Yeah. Did you ever hear the one? Did you ever hear the
Boil
one
it
Penn
first.
Gillette did about he got students to sign a petition against water? He would say it makes you sweat.
Yeah.
Causes if it's too much of it's in your system, it causes urination.
Bloating.
And then he called it dihydrogen oxide. And he got this petition to ban water. Because all you have to do is act like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, people are, we the sheeple. It's like, people are, you can easily influence them. If you get enough people that are just easily influenced, you can talk them into anything.
Well,
So,
Buy your albums.
That's right. Buy my albums. Yeah.
Well, was it 10% of Americans don't believe we were on the moon?
I've heard.
Yeah.
I've heard. It's Charles Sagan's Demon Haunted World said like a certain percent, 48% believe we don't revolve around the sun. People have questioned this. One of my friends who's a doorman, but one of my friends said, "Hey, I do doors at bars. People are stupider than you think."
A lot of first-hand experience there.
Yeah. So it's a stat. It's scary when you think about it. I don't know what to say because you could goof up it, take any stat you want, make them whatever. But that's scary. Even like 1% believes that.
Well, look, I took a class back at Nazareth a long time ago called Philosophy of Religion. And it was just, it was an interesting overview of religions over the centuries and stuff. And what it boils down to basically is like you take the Martin Luther thing as an example. But, okay, I believe this, I don't believe this. Here's what I believe, who's with me. Done. New religion. There it is. That's all it is. It's like, I believe this, and, you want to come with me and believe it also, and then people want to belong to something, they want to be a part of something, and off
The
you
best life for Brian.
Yeah.
I
right.
worship the shoe.
Yeah.
I have his shoe.
That's, you get enough people fired up, and that's what a lot of this political
It's almost like a
crap's about.
concert. It's almost like a concert.
It kind of, yeah.
And you think about that though, playing though, when all the people are into it and they all part of something. It's the same thing.
It's an interesting thing of communal thinking or whatever.
How they can get, back in the 80s, they can get everybody to pull their lighters out.
That's right.
And let it twinkle. Now it's phones.
Yeah, I know. Lighters
The worst experience ever. I was at a Scorpions concert. I was trying to get down. I got my foot caught in a chair. And I couldn't get out. These two stoners are like, dude's got his foot in the chair, and all these high guys are trying to help me get out. And I'm like turning red. And I know then the worst part, one of my high school classmates sees it, and I know what's going to go around the school.
Well, thank goodness there weren't cell phones back then.
I know. I was just thinking about that. All the dumb crap.
Because it would have been video going around.
Could you imagine that now? Like anything you do, like you pick your nose somewhere, you might be on like the... And I know for the masked drummer, he's probably got people trying to follow him around all the time, trying to get him without the mask.
Trying on different Speedos.
Yeah, trying to get him to endorse different underwear products and stuff. It's insane.
Or anything like that. One thing I wanted to talk about, because Paul and I were talking about this, we save our best conversations for not on the show, always, was we were talking about the Bug Jar a little bit, its history. And the thing was, I was there the first night, and what happened was I had friends who lived on Priam, and we'd go to Woody's. So we met them, and they're like, hey, there's this new bar down here. It's where Rosie's was, which was a different bar there. And one guy goes in, he goes, you got to see this place. And that's when you did everything on top.
It is a cool.
And what I heard now, Oz told me this because I went away. This is I'm going to say it's either 89 or 90. This was, but then I lived in Alexandria a lot during the 90s. What Oz told me, it started as like a dance club.
Yep.
Like a dance club.
Okay.
So, and I don't know, it was almost like with pro wrestling where it started off as the result maybe, who was going to win, but they decided it would get more interesting. So they said, well, it's a dance club, but let's bring in music.
Yes.
So I don't exactly know. I'd have to ask like Bobby or Oz like when that happened.
I don't know it at all. I don't know at all.
Me either. I would imagine because it was a dance club and it kind of verged into the punk scene because that's the kind of stuff that was going on at the time. Probably.
I mean, I still I would say, if you would agree or not, that I thought Idols to me was like the punk bar.
It certainly was.
It was,
Because Scourges, what would you say? That's more like new wave and variety a little bit. Because you'd have
that was
wave
more of
and-
a straight, more of a rock.
Yeah, because we used to see Colorblind James down there once in a while, but they didn't play there as often as. But Natalie Merchant used to play in Twirl, and we always worried that she was going to catch fire with all the candles on the stage.
Right.
There had to be a fire marshal violation there someplace. But
these days,
Trapped
those
in the
days.
basement of Scourges with the candles.
swirling mumbly girl.
one exit or something.
I'll tell you, man, the coolest thing I think I saw at the Bug Jar was, I couldn't believe it, the Blue Cheer was there.
I was there.
I was there. $20.
Blue
I mean, how can you not go
With
to
Ginger
that?
Baker?
No, Blue Cheer with the Dickie Peterson and the Summertime Blues.
I'm
and all those
getting-
guys. It's
You're thinking of Cream.
No, I'm thinking of he has some other blue band, Ginger Baker in the 80s and
The
90s.
Blue Man.
Oh, the
Group.
Air Force?
No, I can't think
Blind
of it.
Faith? It was like...
No, Blue Cheer. And the thing was,
He was an
the
old
bassist, the drummer of the bassist is from Rochester.
Oh,
Blue
yeah?
Cheer, yeah. He's our young boy. He's only been in the band 22 years. We found out.
Yeah.
But one of my friends I guess Dickie, he's dead now, unfortunately. He used to live in, around Big Sur. I think he lived on a farm. He's talking about raising his chickens.
Right.
And I remember he came up and I was telling him the story, and he tells the story. Now, this is from Dickie Peterson. I don't know if it's true or not. He said he was in the hotel. They knew Janice the night she died.
Wow.
And he told the whole story about how they brought her body out and everything.
Oh, man.
And, it's like, that's what Dickie Peterson told me. That's the only thing.
He's the drummer of that band.
Oh,
But it's the drummer or the bassist is from Rochester.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
I think it was at the Halloween show, maybe. I was there. It was packed.
It was really good. That's all I know. Because I always liked them. In fact, I remember when I was a kid, when they had all these variety shows on TV, I saw the weirdest stuff on these variety shows.
They had punk rock and hard rock and little
Mike
kids were
Douglas had Deep Purple on.
the Raspberries.
I saw Blue Cheer on the Steve Allen show, and Steve Allen actually said so. He made a comment like, "You can't believe how loud it is in here," because by the time it gets mixed down and everything over TV, it's not. But in there, I guess it was like, nuts. Yeah. But yeah, those acts, rock was a new thing at one time. That's what people kind of forget. It was like, this was like some new weird thing that let's just get these guys on there, long hair, and.
And I wonder too if maybe now, like somebody who was working there maybe was a fan of one of those and just went to the right person, or maybe like Merv was open to it. Because I saw Susie Quattro on the Merv Gifford show.
I love Susie Quattro.
And there was one of those things where they said, "Oh, hey," and maybe they were open to it. It's like, why not? You know, it might bring a different demographic. Maybe they were worried within a demographic. It might bring the kids into watch.
Mix it up.
Sure.
I would have my dad. He'd be watching the Jerry Lewis telethon. He's like, "Go wake me up if somebody was on." He's like, "Hey, Kids is on now."
That Jerry.
Watching Mike Douglas
I had
while
a
your
friend.
mom's ironing.
Our neighbor, my neighbor's dad. Every year he made a pilgrimage watching the whole 24 hours of it.
I hated that because that meant it was like time to go back to school. Wasn't that Labor Day weekend?
Yeah,
it was
wasn't
always
that
Labor Day
always
weekend.
Yeah.
back
It was
in the
the
day
end
like
of
that?
Yeah.
That back in the day, that was the whole thing, and especially when you got older, like by my senior year in high school. And even my senior year, like in grade school, it seemed like the summer started going faster.
Of
but you would be
course.
watching and go, yay, football's starting. Oh, bummer. School's going to be starting
Yeah,
too.
right.
Yeah.
You know? So,
So melancholy. At
It
least
always
for
kind of amazes me because I'm not a big football guy, but it always amazes me how the football season is really kind of short.
no, you can't beat the crap out of yourself.
Yeah,
that
I know.
long.
unless you're a
it's
pro
like-
wrestler who used to be like on the road 300 days a year.
Well, they're the really tough guys.
Yeah, no kidding.
And it's
I
been
hope no football players out hear this.
No, but it's been said, like, do you ever hear the
they
story
do
about
without
Bruno?
gear, right?
Yeah, okay, I'll give you one. Bruno Sammartino, the one time, 1985, so he's like 50, right?
Yeah.
He sees this guy back, he's like, he's one of the hosts on the show, the wrestling show at the time. He sees a guy back in the, by the locker, and he tells him, hey, you can't stand it, you're going to be trouble. He's like, you want to do something about it, old man? He was a Canadian football player.
no.
And what happened was he had 6 guys with him. Bruno decked him, took out 2 others. By that time, the Iron Sheik came out of the shower where he had a towel around his waist, shower shoes, and they clocked the other guys. And if you ever hear the Sheik, they'll say,
Sheik.
Mr. Bruno Sammartino, we clean house.
Yes. The Sheik was a shooter.
And the way Bruno said, well, I was around 50, so I was fading a little. He already knocked out, 3 professional football players in the late 20s.
No, he would have normally knocked 8 out by then.
Yeah.
But,
You're the one, Wahoo McDaniel, beat up 18 guys at a bar one time.
Yep.
It's funny hearing these stories about this wrestlers being such tough guys, because my mom used to run a Fanny Farmer's candy store in Syracuse, out in North Syracuse in the mall.
Awesome.
And they'd all stay out there at this hotel. So all the wrestlers would come in and buy candy for my mom. It was so funny because they'd always come in and they come in together, like they're arch enemies the night before when they're wrestling at the one.
right.
Then they all come in and they're best friends and they're all hanging out.
The ones who fought on TV all the time, they were usually good friends because they were working together constantly.
Right. Who's winning tonight? I don't know.
Did you imagine, though, some little kids come in or whatever, and they go into K-Fab, so they start, hitting each other with bonbons, whacking each other with trays of, the little jelly candies.
Right. I'll take the cream puff marshmallow surprises, please.
And I bet the tougher they were, the weirder candy it
That's
was.
exactly
Make sure
right.
they're
That's exactly right. Those little lemon wedges with the sweet rind around them. Yeah.
I heard a story. I don't know.
Vince McMahon.
Duel of the butcher.
Yeah, they would have you. He would take his fork, he stabs the guy, would grab the candies, put him in his scars in his head, and wear them. You get everything. But I heard the story too. They let you eat all the free candy you wanted because then you got sick of it and you never did it again.
Right.
Well,
That's the story I've heard.
I don't know if that was true.
I don't know if it's true or not. That's the story I've heard. But my mom, we had one in the mall. My mom liked those. I'll never forget those little jellies, those little jelly rings with chocolate on them.
I did not like those.
I didn't really
I'm
either.
an orange
I
cream
didn't-
guy myself.
Yeah, I like the sherbets
Yeah.
Yes.
and the almond bark.
And I like those, and I like the little mint ones, they had the chocolate in them and the green outside.
I like the dark
Yeah.
chocolate caramel ones. Okay, that's.
I hope you're all listening for breakfast.
Yeah,
This is
right.
That's always. What does the masked drummer like? Did he ever tell you?
He likes the mashed potato and meatloaf Twix. The mashed potato and meatloaf Twix.
Are those the ketchup-filled ones?
No, those are different. Those are the French fry and ketchup Twix.
Right.
Mashed potato and meatloaf Twix have gravy.
And the cauliflower rings.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Chocolate dipped cauliflower. Dark chocolate cauliflower.
Oh my goodness! Now, you said, you've been going to shows. You've been I'm thinking for bands too. Do you see a lot of going on to different towns soon and everything too?
Yeah, I mean, right now, me personally, I got my first gig next month. I got a couple more gigs in August, another gig in September. We're going to try and get in the studio soon because, and so I'm just inching my way back. I mean, I'm trying to, like 2020, I lost all kinds of momentum, really big gigs.
Oh, yeah.
We came off winning the Battle of the Bands out in Leroy, and we had an opening slot at Oaxaca
Well, the masked
Fest.
drummer attacked some of the other guys,
Yeah.
so it's kind of easy.
Yeah.
They couldn't even play.
So I'm like having a trouble getting
You broke my hand.
some of the promoters and venue managers getting back with me. I imagine they're getting hit up a lot by a lot of people. So
Right, that's, yeah.
but I'm starting to build my normal little circuit back up, which doesn't include out of town right now. But
That Leroy thing is cool. Where was that?
that was Smoking Eagle Barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
That's got good barbecue too.
Yeah,
That's got
and,
really good.
the-
I know because I did a bank. Used to clean the bank across the street, so
Okay.
I would see that. I've heard it's got really good barbecue.
Great venue.
Yeah, big stage.
Please
Played
send
there
us
once.
free stuff sometime if you're listening.
They haven't started bands up. We were supposed to get bookings out there too, and it's a really hot kind of
And I
venue.
picture this is going back to the whole COVID thing. Paul and I, we know because we hung out at Dublin.
Right.
And the thing is, okay, confession time. What did we do on Sunday? Karaoke.
Right.
Yeah.
And which is, I didn't do as much, but all my friends went, so I used to watch more than I used to drink a lot and watch.
It was a weird scene because-
But the thing, you would have every different kind of person come in.
Right.
Where's Dublin?
Dublin
In
Underground?
Ireland, it's in Ireland.
I'm thinking-
Yeah, we used to like jet over. I used to have the Concorde. We used to go over every Sunday and come back.
Dublin?
He had the last Concord.
You're talking about Underground,
The
right?
Dublin
Yeah.
Underground,
Okay.
Well, that's what I meant. Where was that? I was just
Because
like,
you'd have
Right on EO. It was at Easton Alex. It's where the maze.
Used to be Waterworks.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
used to be
was
Waterworks.
oh, yeah. Okay.
Wimpy's,
Okay.
Waterworks, and I think it's Masons now. Maybe I haven't
Yeah,
been down
Mason,
there.
yeah.
And
With
it was
the
something.
spiral stairs. That,
Oh, it was
Great.
whiskey. Then it was whiskey. It was after there
Whiskey
was
was-
whiskey. Then it was
yeah.
Dublin.
It reminded me of those Manhattan, New York basement clubs,
Right.
man.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Oh, he loved. I remember
Dublin.
one time, like some concerts, there'd be water dripping down the ceiling. There'd be a big spot. And one time, I remember like the spiral staircase back when it was Waterworks, and people would fall down it when they were drunk.
I played there when it was Masons, man. It was really weird loading in there. You had to go
I wonder-
through
I
this,
get- you know, I wonder
the
even what it
steam
looks-
thing where all the pipes were and like a corridor, and it was like hot. And I'm like,
And
oh
I mean,
my
you
God.
don't have much equipment, so
No,
you're like,
you know that loading staircase in the back? Are you familiar with that?
yeah.
Well, I'm playing there with Buddhahood, right? And it's wintertime, and there's like each cap of the stairs has like a metal cap on it,
Right.
and it's all wet and slippery. And Tony, big Tony, gosh, his 2 amps, and Tony's like 360 pounds, and he takes a first step and boom, bam, da, 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 all the way down with his amps rolling.
He didn't just sled down. He went, woo.
No, he just dumped that big dude. I was like, he's going to take the wall out at the bottom of the stairs. He got to the bottom and was just like, we still had to play the gig.
Yikes.
And he was hurting.
That couldn't have helped. Yeah.
That was comparative. There's a really bad load in at Funkin' Waffles in Syracuse, too. It's very similar. It's a basement stairs, steep down, metal. But anyway.
That's when you wish you played trumpet. You know, or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that.
Or
Harmonica.
Your
harmonica.
case of harmonica.
Yeah, and it's like we could do a whole thing on Dublin stories. It was such an eclectic, interesting group of people.
There'd be like a gangster rap concert going on
Yeah,
downstairs,
yeah.
and then karaoke upstairs. It was
Right,
just
yeah.
bizarro.
It was.
You
I
have
must
like
have been
I
there
remember
once.
like a couple times like there were like there's like bikes all out in the front.
Yeah, I liked that bar. I'm really bummed it left.
Speaking of the Syracuse, the Blues Festival is coming up. The Syracuse Blues Festival.
Really?
It's back. Yep. I think they do it at the Armory Square there, and a bunch of there's like Carolyn Wonderland. There's a whole bunch of really good bands playing this year. But it wasn't.
check it out.
They didn't have it last year because.
And I will say, the only times I ever did karaoke, my friend Charlotte from the Old Toad, she finally got me up there. In other words, I had like 6 or 7 drinks, and we did. You're the one that I want from Greece. And the one time Jens is bothering me, and hi Jens. It was one of these days where this was the time where you didn't want to miss it. It was like snowing, and I lived over off Stanton Avenue in Irondequoit, and you could just go down to the back road. So I'd come down, there'd be like Jens, me, a couple other people. I sang Lazy on a Sunday Afternoon by the Kinks.
Nice.
But I never just got, like, I was always still shy about doing that stuff. There were people who would practice at home for days to get it right.
Oh, it's like they consider it a gig.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
you don't have to load in and out.
Yeah. I was like, I tried karaoke till I figured out you're like, you can't change the key. Can we change the key of this? Like at band, if I can't sing a song, it's like they transcribe it for me. Well, no, there's no transcribing. Can't cry out loud.
No, I'm just looking.
Oh, but I need to be kind of drunk to start singing karaoke.
We knew COVID was over when we went out to do karaoke, so our friend Al, the stand-up comedian, was in town on his farewell tour because he's moving from New York City to someplace in the Northwest. And
I'm going to try to get a Zoom with them.
Yeah.
But we did the last time I was ever in there, I did 3. I did Not Okay, I'm Lying. I did 8 plus Tullamore Dew shots with Crystal. I got home and I ate a peanut butter and jelly donut that I dipped in peanut butter. So that was my last night. There was some band in the basement. Seemed like the thing to do at the time. But that was like, and I like eclectic places like that though. Yeah. And everything else. But
that place was wild. I really miss it.
But as always, we can always go on for like hours and hours. But if we have other things to do, you have a farm market to go to.
We were actually there early today. So.
Oh, you did? What'd you get? Anything good?
What'd we get? We got 2 chickens.
Two chickens and our CSA.
Yeah, ton of veg.
Oh, I've heard the masked drummer is he sells at a flea market at some undisclosed place.
Yeah, all varieties of fleas are available there. Big ones, small ones, medium ones. He has currently from his Sri Lankan tour, he has a big batch of Sri Lankan fleas. And that's down under the bridge, railroad tracks, Alexander Avenue. By the sewer.
Nasty little buggers, those Sri Lankan fleas. Yeah.
You'll see his stand next to the sewer grate at the corner downtown.
Oh, dear goodness. That's always, if you ever
Bring
want
your bag of
fleas.
orange rinds and...
But cool, that's great. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for you two clowns, as always.
yeah, sure.
And everything. And John, you are playing again soon.
Yeah, man, I can't believe it. July 30th at B-Side. I don't know when this will be
B-Side.
played, but July 30th, JPP returns with Bobby Olson on guitar. He was our original reuniting with him.
Excellent.
And the rehearsals are going great.
I love playing with him, man.
He's great, man.
Awesome.
And rehearsals are going awesome. We got some new surprises. Anybody who's used to seeing our set, you're going to see the familiar great things you like, and we've got some other cool stuff. So really excited.
Paul, I will see you when I see you around or come back down.
Yeah, we'll be having a music festival in our backyard the week after Labor Day.
People who want to go email me and send me $200. And I'll give you a location.
Make sure you take a flea dip bath before you go.
And then Paul, I'll be out of town. You can't catch me after you have all these people coming here. You'll never find me again or anything else. Yeah. But I have my good friend Natalie Gelman just released a new CD, Moth To The Flame. It's out on Blue. And I've noticed Bluey Records, a lot of my friends are on there. And for whatever reason, I don't know how these record labels pop up. And she's really good. She's from New York. She lives in California now. And she's another one I saw plenty of. Used to do live streaming shows every Sunday. And that's another thing for so many musicians who I have a collection of tour shirts from shows I've never gone to. But I'm going to play one song from this. It's a song called Heavy, Heavy Heart. It's Natalie Gelman, Moth To The Flame. You can get it on Blue Land. And for all of us, we're out. Bye.
Yep.
See ya.
I think I'm moving, but it feels like I'm standing still. I think I'm loving, but it feels like I lost my way. Under other circumstance, no one could have taken me apart quite like you. It was just a game, a chance. You were holding on the cards like you do. Heavy, heavy heart, sinking like a stone. Stop before calculate every day. You overthink the truth like you do. Heavy